from Leeds to Manchester to Dublin to New York to America, where I then started a 38-day journey that went from Los Angeles, Reno, Montana, camped out.
Was that like a camping?
Yeah, so one of my best friends from college got married in Bozeman, Montana, way up there. My best friend from college, my roommate, who I mentioned earlier, got me into camping. We spent 3 or 4 very rainy nights in Montana catching brook trout. I caught 4 trout. I swear to gosh,
Wow.
they were this
Is it
big.
wild? Was it wild camping that you did, or?
Oh, absolutely primitive. Yeah. Whenever I talk to you about camping, they're yes, very primitive.
Hi guys, another episode of Momentum Resilient Life. It's great that I'm here with Phil today from the US, from Reno in Nevada. And I met him 7 to 8 years ago, and I'm super excited about talking to him because we don't have quite a lot of people coming from, the US, and I'm really excited about hearing about the nature, his experiences there, his stories that he has, really to get us excited about perhaps one day visiting California. Who knows, right? Phil, great to have you with us in the show.
Thanks, Andy. I know that I was destined to be on this Momentum cast with you because true story, one day girlfriend and I are at our local big box hardware store and I'm rushing to get my stuff checked out. And I swear, true story, the lady says to me, "Sir, you have a lot of momentum. You're very movementy. You need to slow down a little bit." And my girlfriend's busting up laughing at the whole ADHD thing. Yes, I have a lot of momentum.
That's great, Phil. Let's start with that because are you a broadcaster or you have worked as a broadcaster?
Yeah, quite a bit of on-air experience. Started back in 2003. I started as the public address announcer for Long Beach State University men's ice hockey team, just calling goals, penalties, the voice inside the arena. Started doing the play-by-play for the club hockey team. That moved into some minor league baseball, high school hockey, and fast forward here in Reno, Nevada, I'm the on-air play-by-play broadcaster for our semi-pro hockey team and the backup public address announcer for the Reno Aces, which is the minor league affiliate of the Arizona Diamondbacks of America's Major League Baseball.
Wow, I know you're a big fan of hockey. I'm going to leave that to a little bit later in the show. Let's talk early days. I think you're not from Nevada. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Santa Clarita, California. You may have heard of that. If the Netflix show, The Santa Clarita Diet, has made its way into your feed. Yeah, that was filmed all in my hometown. The zombies were still there when I lived there back in the 80s and 90s. It's also home to Six Flags Magic Mountain, greatest theme park roller coaster in the world. So as a kid, I could step outside my back gate, climb the hills, see the Six Flags Tower, see the fireworks from Magic Mountain. But more importantly, how does that parlay to momentum? I was walking through the hills. I was playing in nature, seeing animals and trees and shrubs and smelling the sagebrush, riding my bike through dirt trails and over jumps and playing in dirt.
Well, that is amazing. We really want to get our people in nature. We want to get them out there and embrace this amazing life of finding who you are in nature. And I think there is a lot that you can actually infuse and inspire us with your upbringing and your experiences. When you talk about Santa Clarita, right? I was confusing that. There is another Santa Carla, but that was the Lost Boys. That was like there was a film called Lost Boys, and that was a Santa Carla. I was getting confused. It's not the same one.
Santa Clara is it's south of San Francisco, and Santa Clarita is the the Hispanic way of saying a lot of Mexican influence, obviously from below America. It's small Santa Clara. Okay. So Santa Clarita tried to parlay off of that.
Small one, yeah, it's a small. Yes. So how did you start? I mean, let's talk about you in nature. You started because do you think you shaped by where you were that helped you, or your parents, or how did you get that thing about going to nature?
Well, I got to thank my parents for buying a home in Santa Clarita in the 70s before the urban sprawl completely decimated the mountains, the oak trees. When we moved in, it was a town of less than 100,000 people, and now it's closer to 300,000 people.
Wow.
The lore that I get from my mom is the first couple of weeks that they moved into the house, a deer ran through the backyard behind the hills. I had friends that also had backyards along our street that opened into the mountains. We'd climb through the oak trees. Like I said, we'd ride our bikes through all that. There was a small creek not far from our house that we would drive to, stick our feet in the summertime and play under the shade. So yeah, a little bit of my parents' influence. As I got older though, we never went camping. That was not a thing. Overnight trips in the outdoors, rafting, canoeing, biking. They weren't really exercise motivated folks. It really wasn't until 2007, 8, 9-ish that my college roommate, he would go camping in Kern River Valley, which is part of the South Sequoia Forest, about 2.5 hours north of Los Angeles. Kern River is known for its whitewater rafting experiences. It's a pretty lethal river, actually. When you get into the river valley, there's a sign that says this many people have died here, so be careful.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, it's pretty intense through those mountains. He took me out there one time, and then I realized, oh wait, you can drink a lot of whiskey and climb over rocks. This is camping. Sign me up. He bought a couple of kayaks to go fishing in. And where we lived in Long Beach, all I had ever known was riding my bike along the beach. He took me out into the marinas on kayaking. And as soon as I got on top of the water, wow, my life changed. I would take his kayaks when he wasn't around. Then one weekend, he took his kayaks, didn't tell me. So I had to go buy a kayak. I was like, I want to go on the water today. Went to my sporting goods store, dropped $330 like it was nothing. And that was a big game changer. I still have sandy bottoms in the garage, my 10-foot Pelican.
Wow, it's really amazing. I think something that talking to people who are constantly in nature and up and down the mountains, and you meet people and you talk to them, it really changes you, doesn't it? It gets the best out of you, but also shapes who you are, and you feel part of it, part of that ecosystem with nature, trees, mountains, animals, the wild. And I think in California, you have a lot of that. But that's not the news that we get mostly from California, this side. And I would love to visit California. I haven't been to California. And unfortunately, there's a lot of the contrast between of the black, dark side of what happens in politics or everything as anywhere in the world, and this beautiful, amazing nature that you have. How do you contrast that? How is it living in California for you?
Well, because of all that black and darkness, that's why we left California for Reno. We wanted to be closer to nature and have a greater access to the outdoors. And when I say we, I mean my girlfriend now of 7.5 years.
Wow.
After I left England and Ireland and that giant trip in 2014, my heart was open wide because I was experiencing outdoors and nature and kindness. My gosh, I must have hiked over 100 miles through England, Ireland, Scotland, Montana, Oregon, California parts, and I saw better parts of the world and realized I do not want to live in a concrete jungle anymore. So we're a good 400 miles north of Los Angeles. Yes, the California border is 45 minutes to my west. And we do go into Northern California for the lakes. There's one called Frenchman's Lake, Davis Lake, Gold Lake, Cold Lake, Packer Lake, and I hope you'll write these down off the podcast and take a look, so that way you'll be enticed to come visit up here. Getting back to how do we balance that? Yeah, getting away into the nature gets us away from all of that news. We don't turn a blind eye to it. We still follow it. But that getting out onto the kayak, climbing into the Sierra Buttes, and waking up with a deer eating your towel, that's just how we reconnect and feel more grounded.
Yeah, I guess you are. I mean, Reno is the biggest little city in the world, right?
That is correct.
That is what you say. And I mean, it's a town size, or it's not like a massive city, isn't it? It's like more like a town size sort of.
Reno is very unique. We're geographically separated from Lake Tahoe with the Sierra Nevada mountains to my south, and then another range of mountains.
Beautiful.
Oh, it's amazing to our east. So we're this little valley in between, and it's called the biggest little city because in the spring and summer there is always something going on. Right now in July, the entire month of July is Art Town. Every single day there is a concert, a dance show, an art exhibit, a lecture, a speech, a burlesque show, big name artists, Manhattan transfers coming, jazz musicians. There is something to do all day, every day, to enhance your artistic side or to find your artistic side. There's so many workshops. If you want to learn to be a painter, a photographer, a woodworker, anything to express your creativity, July Art Town, that is the month that it's happening. August and September, there are events. We've got the world famous balloon races, the championship air races show. There's a classic car show that lasts an entire week where you'll see more cars of every make, model, and year than you'll ever see in your life.
Wow.
And whenever you run through this town, you run into people you know. And no greater example of that than just this past Friday, Shoshana and I were randomly strolling through part of downtown, and we ran into the bar owner where I host weekly pub trivia for the last 5 years, having his birthday party, and we're doing shots at the bar. Like, you just run into people everywhere once you've been here for a
So you'd say there is a sense of community?
Oh, 100%. Yes. Shoshana and I were overwhelmed at the welcoming sense of community here. LA is LA. Very, very, very much on your own. Don't talk to me. Who are you? Why are you speaking to me? It was very, very nose in the air. We did not get a good vibe. Santa Clarita, which used to be that nice, isolated, fun suburb, that has changed too. And forgive me for my Santa Clarita friends listening. It's a very different environment here. You know, I don't want to say all people are great. I've run into 2 people that I'm okay if I never see again, but you know, small percentage given the 250 something thousand people here.
No, I think I agree with you. We have problems here in Austria. Of course, corruption, and we keep, my wife and I, we talk. She's Austrian, and she's sometimes like so appalled to hear about corruption and politics. I don't want to even mention about the UK and Boris Johnson and the Prime Minister and the whole scandal going on there. I think California and the US not immune to that, or Brazil, my country of birth. I think for me, the past 2 years, even the COVID time and lockdowns, it was a time for reflection, and a time of finding small communities and finding people online, but also being nature. And I think I can see like a clear divide about people moving out of big cities, trying to, well, understand what is happening in the world, but finding better ways of connecting with themselves and nature, and keeping healthy. And that's why we started this community also in the first place. You know, despite of everything that is negative going on in the world, we want to connect with people who are, you know, positive, good vibes. They are in nature. They want positive things for them and for community. And I think you were one of those guys that came to my life through couch surfing, funny enough. And then we met, and then we stayed connected. I mean, it's great to talk to you today. And you went through, was it last time you came to Europe? Like when you came, was it last time you came to Europe? I don't know if you traveled to Europe since last time, but you went to England, or can you tell us a little bit what you did in traveling here in Europe at that time?
For sure. That was my first and so far only trip outside of North America. That was 2014. The purpose of the trip was to visit whiskey distilleries and castles.
There you go.
So it started in Dublin. I spent 9 days doing a counterclockwise trip around all of Southern Ireland. Tullamore, Kilbeggan, Jameson, Killarney National Park, Cliffs of Dover. If I saw a waterfall, a pond, or a rock, I stopped and stood on it and took pictures. I almost died in Ireland too. I was trying to get a good shot of a waterfall and I slid down a mountain. I literally had to sink my claws in to the turf. And that's the most scared I've ever been in my life. But I got the picture and I survived. From Dublin, I skipped over to Glasgow, then made my way all the way up to Ballantor, Shandwick, Dornoch for Glenmorangie, Dalmore. Came back down through Edinburgh for Glenlivet, McAllen, Dalwhinnie. Then that was a 10-day trip through Scotland. Then 9 days in England, which included, I can't remember the name of the castle now. I think it was Corfe Castle in South London, Stonehenge. Hiked several miles through Cliffs of Dover. Again, almost fell off the side of a cliff, went down a stairwell to the bottom to get a better video and shot, made it to the top of the lighthouse, then went from Dover to Leeds in about 6 hours. Didn't get a speeding ticket, where we had an amazing day hiking along whatever that river was. And I spent the day at whatever that Abbey ruins was.
Like in Nesborough, right? The St. John's.
Yes, that was an amazing day. Then from Leeds to Manchester to Dublin to New York to America, where I then started a 38-day journey that went from Los Angeles, Reno, Montana, camped out.
Was that like a camping?
Yeah, so one of my best friends from college got married in Bozeman, Montana, way up there. My best friend from college, my roommate, who I mentioned earlier, got me into camping. We spent 3 or 4 very rainy nights in Montana catching brook trout. I caught 4 trout. I swear to gosh,
wow.
They were.
Is it big. Wild? Was it wild camping that you did, or?
Oh, absolutely primitive. Yeah. Whenever I talk to you about camping, they're yes, very primitive. Tents, digging holes.
Right. Not like those, like you have the camping site and you go there, they pitch a tent for you, or you drive with your caravan or something. It was proper wild camping you did.
Proper wild camping. Yes. We dig our own. So yes, absolutely. We do not have a motorhome or RV. We have sleeping bags. We have some of the modern amenities, gas stoves. I don't care for the bureaucracy, nor do I have the patience to get a fishing license and try to catch my own dinner. We try to roll kind of high class.
Can you still do like wild camping in some of these places? I think in Europe, I don't know, it's a bit more complicated, but I guess you can. But I mean, the US might be a bit easier, right? Because it's much bigger.
Yes and no. If you're going to backpack into certain places, you do have to get a wilderness permit, and that's okay because you want the rangers to know, hey, I'm out here somewhere. There are some areas that are undeveloped campsites. Problem with those is they're first come, first served. So you roll into an area, and if you don't get there, like for example, on a Thursday afternoon or an early Friday before the working crowd gets out there, you're out of luck on a spot. Some of the other developed sites are extremely expensive pay sites, 25 to 40 American dollars for certain places. If you want to go to some of the more picturesque places, like along the California coast, you're looking at $60 a night with reservations a year in advance. Some of those reservations are non-refundable, which is extremely difficult when we have bad fires around here. As the news of some of our wildfires made its way to UK and Europe.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's another thing that we watched, and it's wow. Yeah,
here in Reno last summer in particular, we had like 90 straight days of unhealthy air quality, like hazardous quality, hazardous air quality that made it impossible to go outside and kayak or hike, because the particulate matter, you saw the mountains in the background here. We couldn't see the trees past our house. That's how thick the smoke was from the California wildfires here. So we couldn't camp, we couldn't kayak. We lost our summer.
Sorry, when was that, Phil?
Last year. It was the end of July. I had some family visiting.
Oh, wow.
The smoke and the heat was so bad here that we checked into one of the casinos for air conditioning and better quality air, which didn't matter because they put us on the same floor as the pool, right by the pool, and the smoke just made its way into our room. It was quite wretched. It was very depressing.
Well, during COVID lockdowns, were you allowed to go into nature, or was it okay to go out into doing camping still like that? I don't know if.
Yeah, it was a challenge because the majority of the campgrounds nearby are on the California side, and California politics being California politics, all of the campgrounds got shut down. Couldn't have that many people interacting. Didn't want to put the rangers at risk, so we couldn't go to any of the developed sites. We were also a little hesitant to go hiking on trails where you're walking right by somebody who's breathing at a heavy pace. Some people still did. We focused on our house. We built a fire pit. We grew a garden. We painted the basement. We tried to stay within our own little footprint to spend time outside. It was very challenging. I think we did go kayaking a few times, again, before the fires, even in 20 and 21 wreaked havoc on our lives, but we couldn't do overnight trips.
Yeah, and here we could go into nature. Of course, there's some restriction in terms of meeting people, of course, but you could go, which is what saved us being all the time out during the weekend, of course, and hiking and going to more, let's say, isolated places. So let's go back to camping, and I want you to give me, I'm planning to go camping this year. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything goes well. We're going to go and do parts of what they call NC 500, is North Coast, in Scotland. What would you, what are they like, what would you tell me? I'm completely like green in terms of camping, right? I go a lot into nature, but I go and come back or stay in a hut or something like that. But now, what would you say if someone's just about to start?
Lists. Make a list. There are so many different checklists online about what you need to bring with you to be comfortable, to be safe, and be prepared. I was only a Boy Scout for 2 years. Because nobody really taught me some of the things that I should have been doing. Yeah, there was a book, but I was too hyper to read the book. But it doesn't tell you, and there wasn't the internet to help me research what sleeping bag am I going to need for what the temperature is going to be. What am I going to need to sleep on so that I'm comfortable? Remember, to sleep comfortably, you need to be warm yet cool. You need to have soft ground or something firmer than a rock to sleep on. Me personally, I don't like to be unleveled. If my head is below my feet, I'm not going to sleep. I got to sleep heads up. So you got to be able to survey your camp spot and make sure that you're setting up your tent on level ground. Plan your meals to the T, like to the nines. How many eggs do I need? What are we having for lunch? How am I going to keep it cold? Having the proper cooking equipment and utensils, not overpacking heavy things. Man, we've got this down to a science. We've got a little drawer. Yeah, we've got a little 3-drawer, like little plastic bin that's got coffee, cleaning supplies, all of the lightweight stuff. We use I've got a little backpack that I call Hugh Hefner. Hef for short. It's a picnic basket that has room for all the utensils to keep things organized, and a couple of space for insulated. It's got 2 insulated pockets for wine bottles, because you got to bring your wine or whiskey when you go camping. It's having all of these things organized in a way that you can pull them out all together, clean it up, and put it all back together. especially it sounds like if you're car camping where you're rolling everything to one spot and your car is right next to where you're going to be without having to open and close doors 1,000 times, letting in the bugs. Layers, bring layers. You want to be able to, depending on time and elevation, is it going to be hot or cold, so that you're always comfortable. You never want to be too hot. You never want to be too cold. You want to be able to add on layers and not feel completely bulky. That was one of the best things that I learned at REI, Recreational Equipment Incorporated, big outfit here in America. The guy was like, no, you don't want to bring a heavy jacket to Ireland. You want to bring a light thermal layer, a light fleece layer, and a rain shell. And dude, changed my life. Absolutely.
Really? Yeah, it helped when you're over here.
Say again?
It helped when you're in Europe and in England, in Ireland.
Yes. Yeah, I think I spent probably about $300 on the lightest, most comfortable hiking boots and rain shells, and some water resistant pants to make my way through your very moist, humid, precipitous environments. And they're great. I still have them 8 years later. I still hike, camp in them all the time.
Does it rain a lot also in Northern California, where you went with your friend at that time? Do you get a lot of rain there?
Not a lot, but you want to be prepared for it. We have experienced some summer monsoon storms in our camping adventures. Left my boots outside the tent one time and they got totally saturated. Lots of wind, but because they are of that water resistant quality, and they still do have the little breathing holes, they're great to have for when it's cold at night, and throw some thermals on underneath. And then you don't feel like you're wearing 7 pounds of denim.
Yeah, no, that excellent. Thank you so much. I will share some pictures with you. We are going to be leaving next week, but probably beginning of August, we're going to be heading up north to Scotland. Phil, camping in the US, which is different from here, is you got wild animals. Have you bumped into some of those beasts that we see in films?
We have not encountered any bears yet, thankfully.
Right.
I did purchase bear spray when Shoshana and I went to Montana to see the solar eclipse in 2017, and I knew we were going to return to the spot where my buddy Ben and I caught those fish and camped. That is definitely grizzly territory. So I carry. I think some hardware store, I found a pretty decent sized knife, which flips into a saw, again, being prepared, and the bear spray. So we haven't seen them, but we're ready. The biggest animals we've seen, lots of deer. We camped at a spot, and I left my beach towel draped over the side mirror of my car, and you hear little footsteps crawling through, whatever. All right, no big deal. The deer ate a hole in my towel this big just because it had water in it.
Wow.
I've had deer come within just a few feet of us to sniff things out, and and they go away.
Some people, do people hunt them, or is it allowed to hunt? I have no idea. Just what I'm asking.
Yeah, you definitely do.
Or you need to have a hunting license or something like that.
I thought you said handing.
No, hunting.
Hunting, yes. So in northern Nevada, elk hunting is a big deal. You have to apply to get a hunting tag because you can only tag, like kill and tag so many elk per season. Elk meat is delicious, by the way. Ben is an avid hunter, a bow hunter. He's got a rifle, and he keeps and kills everything and eats whatever he catches. So he's not one of those trophy hunters that just goes, oh, look what I got. No, he's got a deep freezer for that. On the California side, not as much. There are specific areas allowed for hunting. In all the camping I've done, I don't think I've ever heard a gunshot or seen a deer strapped to the roof of the car.
Okay, so for you, it's much more like enjoying yourself in the wild, and with you and your girlfriend just spending days there. And I guess you still do today. You still regularly go into nature.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we just did a 6-mile hike along a creek and into the mountains a couple of days ago. We've been trying to coordinate a kayaking outing, which we used to do every other weekend. It's been a little hectic with a baseball season, some unseasonably cooler weather, and the fires last year. But we've got kayaking days and a couple of camping weekends already planned in August.
Thank you very much, Phil. I just want to finish, but what about hockey? Tell us about hockey. I know you're passionate fan about of hockey. Do you still watch?
Absolutely.
Do you still go down to LA to watch them live, LA Kings?
Not as much. I did go to one game in October with one of my buddies. It's a little pricier nowadays to get down there for a game. Here in Reno, we have a brand new indoor ice rink, which just opened in 2021. Pre-COVID, 2019 and early part of 20, in the parking lot of one of the casinos, they built an outdoor skating rink, and there was a kid who coordinated some pickup games. So absolutely surreal to play ice hockey outdoors in Reno. The way the game was originated on the frozen ponds of Canada, Minnesota, and Europe. So that was a treat.
So it was actually an outdoor sport. It made its way into an arena. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah. Playing hockey on a frozen pond that's how kids grew up playing. So in 2014 and 15, I had to travel to Minnesota for work in February, and I got to play the way that you see kids go to the park and play football.
Right.
In Minnesota, the public parks have real hockey rinks. The nets are made of chain link. They've got a little house where you can go back inside and warm up and have some hot chocolate for the next shift or period.
It's amazing.
It's meant to be played outside. Yeah, there's hockey here in Reno. I haven't been playing as much this season. I did play 2 seasons of adult league hockey, and I'm just taking a break to handle some other business right now. But we do have our Reno Ice Raiders men's semi-pro team that I get to do the announcing for, and I get a front row seat for
fantastic. Yeah, I need to go down here to our local hockey arena, the EC Red Bull Salzburg, as I said. And when I do, I'll send you the pictures to you, so you know that I've done it. That's it. That is in my bucket list. I need to watch a live hockey. I mean, it's vibrant, isn't it? The energy is amazing. Keep listening from friends who involved in hockey. They said there's nothing like it.
I totally echo that sentiment.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you for talking to us. Guys, thank you for another episode with us. If you like our show, please subscribe or share with your friends, like and comment, and we would love to hear from you. Thank you very much, Phil, and we'll be together soon, guys. Take care.